So, in the Madrega of Keter, which we discussed yesterday, we have to give attention to our ears. Our ears should always want to hear good things. That nothing false or nothing ugly should enter our ears. Because in the Madrega of Keter, in Olam HaSfirot, in the world, supernal realm, nothing bad is allowed to enter. Only good. Only good. So when you hear people say things that are negative, you have to block it out. One of the rules of Lashon Hara is that if Chas v'Shalom somebody says Lashon Hara, you're not allowed to believe it. I don't have to believe it. People come and say, oh, this person is like that. I don't believe it. Don't let it in. Try to always hear the good. There's a deep inyan that comes from Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov says that when you hear something, it is meant for you. Because if you're in a situation that, let's say you're in public and you hear two people speaking, and it means that you're supposed to hear this. You're supposed to get something out of this. So, always when you're hearing things, you have to make sure that you exclude anything that is ugly, anything that is Lashon Hara. You should only listen to good things, things that bring you benefit, things that bring you anger, like the news. Don't listen to that. There's nothing positive in the news. Well, Rabbi, don't you need to know what's happening in the world? For what? For what? You want to know about the accord between the Armenians and the Azerbaijanis? Who cares? Who cares? Now, especially for Shlom Bayit, you see, in my house, things are very, very simple. My wife and I made a deal that I'm in charge of the big things, and she's in charge of all the little things. So what we do with our money, she decides. Where we go, she decides. We're going on vacation, she decides. If we buy furniture or not, or a car, she decides. I'm in charge of big things, like who should be the Pope, and who should head the UN, what to do with the Iranian nuclear. I'm interested, I'm in the big stuff. So maybe that's the header to listen to news. But otherwise, okay. Yes. Yes.
Sorry.
People at home going, why is he yelling?
Are you allowed to believe Lashon Hara?
Am I allowed to believe?
Are you allowed to believe Lashon Hara in a situation where it could be for your safety?
Well,
safety of a community?
Well, it's not a question of, you could, let's say somebody says, hey, Moshe Yuchis is doing things that are inappropriate with, I don't know, Chas v'Shalom, God forbid, children. Children. Okay, so for that, it is letoeles. That's called benefit, and it's worth investigating. You don't necessarily take it as a given, but probably the rabbis, the Beis Din, whoever is in charge of that in the community, needs to look on those things and make sure that everything's on the up and up.
Take precaution.
Absolutely. Absolutely. For example, we've had situations where you had somebody in the dorms that had sticky hands.
Molesting people?
No, not molesting people, stealing. Wow. Whoa.
I don't know what that is. Why is everyone?
Molesting. Stealing.
Sorry.
So for that, you definitely have to sort of, warn people, like, listen, we have this, there's a suspicion, so keep your eyes open, lock your stuff, you have to. It's a responsibility, of course. Let alone if a guy is touching people.
Rabbi, what steps can one take in giving, like when someone asks them for their opinion, what steps can one take in giving that opinion to avoid lashon hara?
Okay, well, it depends on what opinion and for what purpose. So let's say somebody calls me and says, hey, do you have this guy named Nick in your program? Yes. What can you tell me about him? So I always say, well, why do you want to know? I want to understand why. Stam. Well, stam, I'm not saying anything. What's shiduchim? Right? I have somebody who, is interested in him and a girl and yada, yada, yada. So she's interested. Okay.
Then definitely don't say anything.
Then you could say, yeah, he's like this, he's like that.
To what point can you be honest about a person's faults in that situation?
Again, if it's for shiduchim's purposes, it's la toeles and it's not considered lashon hara. But you also, let's say you had a run-in with the guy. Okay, let's say, right, let's say you were a roommate with, I don't know, somebody you would have a run-in with Mike. Let's just say, and they call you and say, "Oh, you're his roommate. So tell me, what's he like?" And you're like, right? So you have to cheshbon that, maybe really, otherwise everybody gets along with him, it's just you. So maybe you're really the problem. And therefore you'd have to say, look, I don't really get along with him, but everybody else does. Seems to be like, but, he and I are not compadres. So... But we're not doing what can you say for shidduchim. My number one rule is that I'm going to go to Shamayim, and I don't want them to bring up something like, hey, you didn't tell them the truth about the situation, and look what happened. So you are honest, and that's it. You can't ruin a shidduch. It's all from Shamayim anyway. So you're honest. But you have to be honest that you're not like you're getting a vendetta against the guy because, he cut in front of you in line. But if that's his personality and is a guy that doesn't really have good manners and that, you should. Because it's latoelis for this this girl needs to know. Like, let's say you have somebody with bad hygiene. They don't shower every day. That might bother her. Or, if she's cheap, she's like, oh, great, woo! He only changes clothes when the socks stick to his feet. Then he's got to change the sock. Otherwise, 6-7 weeks, no problem. He's an amazing guy. You'd love him. I just never saw him do laundry, but, Tov, weiter. Don't listen to anything that causes you anger. Nothing. And so try to keep yourself in a positive, good environment where you hear good things, when you hear good messages, positive messages. We are influenced by what we hear around us. If you are in an environment that people curse, it's going to affect you. you're also going to drop an F-bomb over here and an F-bomb over there. Even though you don't really mean it, but it's just, that's how we talk, Rabbi. No, that's not how we talk. And there is a sense, there is an aspect, which I understand. There is this need to look cool, to fit in, to be that guy. Okay, I get it. But you have to withstand that peer pressure. That so they don't think you're the cool guy who curses, who gets tattoos and, wears yarmulke like this. Okay, so you're not that guy. You're more the straight-laced, serious guy that came to yeshiva for the right purpose, for the right reason. Okay, so they think of you that you're square. So what? In Shamayim, they think you're cool. In Shamayim, they look at you as a person who has been able to rise above peer pressure. And we have different ages here. I see some people in this, in the hallways and the yeshiva that speak as if they're part of a particular culture. Hey man, what's up? Okay, shkoyach. If that's who you are, vakasha. But none of us, that's not Jewish culture. If you're going to imitate a particular culture, you have to think of what are the values of that culture. And if you come to yeshiva, you're coming to explore what Jewish identity and what does it mean to be a Jew. So part of it is seeing how do Jews behave. You've seen the rabbis interact with one another. Yo, what's up, Rabbi? Right? And you know what I'm going to say something that's very controversial. I'm looking at you, Binyamin, because I know it's not going to be affected. You're not going to be affected. But if I look at some other people, I'm going to get letters. They're going to come line up outside my office wanting to talk about this. There are some people, in order to fit in, don't behave their age. So if you are in your, 26, 27, 28, come on, enough is enough. Enough is enough. You have a huge opportunity. You don't have too much time. You're not 20 that you can sort of waste time. You have to be focused, zeroed in on the opportunity, push yourself. Because you got things that you need to do. You don't want to enter shidduchim in your mid-30s. How old are you?
19.
Yeah, 90's got his time. Yeah. Comes for 2.5 weeks. Whatever he gets. Fine, great, right? You're going to leave your toothbrush behind for people? No.
I don't think anyone wants it.
You'd be surprised. Put it on the Hefker ledge. Anything on that ledge is gone in a matter of seconds. There is a tradition that I just got an email that the location for the Lag BaOmer event has changed. And I'm thinking, Lag BaOmer event was last week. Why are you... The point is, gentlemen, be positive. Be around positive people. provide positive messages, hear positive messages, and that you will emulate the midah of keter as the sfirah that we're discussing right now. Your eyes. Try not to see anything that is ugly. That doesn't mean don't look at ugly people. It's like, It means that there are things that you shouldn't look at. We're not talking about things that are immodest. I'm not talking about that. That's for sure. We don't need to discuss this. But keep your eyes out to see people who need your help. Look at things that you can repair and make better in this world. Don't shut your eyes if you are able to help. If you see a friend is having a bad day, needs to talk, don't shut your eyes. Give him the opportunity, sit with him, listen to him. Even when if it's silly. Sometimes the people that what bothers them is silly. I can give you examples from today of what I had to hear. Like, Rabbi, tell us. And sometimes, it's even a greater mitzvah to listen than to learn Torah. And I'll give you the example. Yesterday I got on the bus. It's not bichlal, it was very strange. I was waiting for the train when I was done giving a talk up in Hebrew University. So I was waiting for the train, and it's not coming. And I'm looking at like, Hashem, I need to catch the 9 o'clock bus. So finally the train comes. I get on the train and I'm worried that, because it told me it's going to take the train 32 minutes. Okay, we were there like in 20 minutes. In the Tachana Merkazit, I get off at Tachana Merkazit. I run, and I realize that the 9 o'clock bus is the wrong bus, that I really need the 8:30 bus. But now it's 9:44. So I have to take the wrong bus at 9 o'clock, which means I just have longer to walk to get home. And it makes it tight for Ma'ariv. But I look at the door, where the bus, when you go to Tachana Merkazit, you stand by, they open a door, and then there's the bus. I'm looking at the door, and there's people there. They shouldn't be there. So I walk around, and I see a friend of mine, and I said, what's going on? He says, well, the 8:30 bus left with all of us on it, but then something happened to the bus, and he drove back, dropped us off, and he went to switch buses. So I'm like, this is unbelievable. Kadosh Baruch Hu, you hooked me up. Yo. Right? So, good. The bus, he comes, I get on the bus, and I sit by my friend because it looked like the bus was going to be full. So I didn't want to have issues later, so I just sat next to him. And he knows that I learn on the bus. So I asked him, I said, I have an idea for you for a project. And he says, well, I have another project that I'm on. And I said, well, what is it? He says, my father's in the hospital. And I know his father. His father is a very important figure in the world of kashrus. That when people in Israel have shailas, he's one of the main authorities that people turn to. And he's been in the hospital for 2 weeks. He's got lots of ups and downs. And so the whole ride, he's telling me about it, I'm asking about his father and what he's doing. They're doing this, they're doing that. And I realized that he needed somebody to talk to. And it was more important than my learning. That right now I have an opportunity to do chesed, to give an opportunity for someone to unload, to talk about what he's worried about, what he's not worried about, of what this and what that, and all the sort of the details that, didn't have anybody to talk to at that time because he's coming back from the hospital. So sometimes you have to keep your eyes open that you see situations where you can actually make a difference. And you have to cheshbon, is my learning more important right now than to listen to help? So your eyes are always to look and see what around you can fix. What around you can make better. Can you help your fellow Jew? Right? You have a roommate, you see he's having a hard time. Help him. Tell him, hey, let's go have a beer. You want to talk? Let's sit for a cup of coffee. Help each other. Look with ayin tova, with a good eye of what you can do to make this better. Which means, and then stay away from anything negative. You see things that are negative, just get away from it. You walk into a room and you see things that you don't need to see, then you just go away. It's very important to maintain the purity of our vision and to use our vision for what Hashem has intended it for. Your nose. Your nose is symbolic of anger. Person should not get angry. You should have arichut af, which means patience. Have patience even for people who don't deserve it. We all sometimes are annoying. We all are. Marasot. It's human nature. If you call your parents and ask them, was I ever annoying? Oh my God. They will give you a list. They will even tell you, why do you think we sent you to Israel for 2.5 weeks? We just want peace and quiet. Yak. Work on midah of having patience. We'll stop here and we'll do mincha.